Hello, Stephen. How are you? Here we go.
Yo, what's up?
Not too much. How's life treating you?
It's all right. I was actually quite busy this week. I have actually started picking up playing Mass Effect 2, so I'm
Very nice.
partially into that. I said last time that I hadn't played any video games recently, but I did get some of that this week.
W- Was that a game at the top of your list, or is that kind of
Yeah.
an obligatory?
A little column A, a little column B.
All right.
For
Yeah.
anyone that doesn't know that's listening to this, I recently started working at BioWare, so I guess that's kind of why it bumped up on my priority list. Is it seems more relevant. But no, I played the last one, or I played the first last year, and it was a pretty solid game. I liked it, so yeah, I feel like I should definitely be playing the second one right now, and hopefully the third one sometime soon.
Good. Good. Okay. Well, big news for me. I finally finished off Phantom Hourglass.
Oh yeah.
Yep. Got everything. Did everything. I will say the first half of the game was ah enjoyable. I certainly get sick of it. It's not. I wouldn't say it's the best Zelda. I was really, really glad to finish it off and be done with it. So I'm currently shopping around for my next game to play. Looking at maybe Metroid Fusion. Don't know if you've played it.
Yeah, I have. It's my least favorite of the Metroids, actually.
Is it? All right.
Yeah, I don't know. Lots of people really like it, but and it's a 2D Metroid, so if you're itching to play one that you haven't, that's probably your only choice by this point.
Well, it's kind of it's a bit of that. It's also a bit of I've had a really hard time just sitting down and playing games lately, kind of in an isolated setting.
Yeah,
Whereas uh, these handheld games you can just grab and go,
yeah,
play on the commute, play when the wife's in the shower, kind of thing. So
yeah, yeah,
yeah, kind of. I tend to try and have a handheld game going at the same time I have like a just a mainstay console game going, and then I have two lists. You like to talk about your backlog. I kind of have two backlogs. One's the handheld and one's the non-handheld, and the handheld certainly goes a lot faster than the non-handheld these days. So
yeah,
yeah, we'll see what happens there.
yeah, yeah. Like I was saying last week, the Pokemon it was way easier to find time to play that, where you can just literally close the system and put it away when something comes up, right?
Right.
Uh, I was actually pretty lucky slash yeah, I guess lucky is just the word. I like a couple weeks ago went into Best Buy and they had mispriced the Fire Emblem games, so I was able to get the Birthright and Conquest for like a total of $40. So I've
Sweet
I've got
find.
those ready to play at some point. I'm just finishing up the Game of Thrones audiobook one, so maybe once that's done, I'm gonna start hacking into one of those games.
Nice, nice. So sounds like you've got a similar thing going. I mean, you buy a couple new games. Sounds like they don't go on the bottom of this giant queue you have. They kind of
Yeah,
bubble around. I don't know.
yeah, everything bubbles around. I do have a priority list, but I don't always stick to it just because, gaming is about fun, not checking off a to-do list. So uh, I kind of give myself a target, but if I don't necessarily feel like playing those, I don't. But
Cool.
yeah,
All right. All right.
yeah,
Well, shall we get into it? I think we were going to talk about some VR stuff.
yeah. I guess speaking into Best Buy, I walked into Best Buy Wednesday night. I happen to live like just across from one, so it's like a super easy distraction for me to do if I get a spare moment. But yeah, I walked in Wednesday night and it happened. I think it was Wednesday, maybe it was Tuesday, but it happened to be the night that the PSVR was launching. Um, so I got to enter into a raffle where I didn't win. Um, but I also got to sit in line and try out the PlayStation VR.
Right. Thoughts? I mean, how many minutes of playtime did you actually get in?
Maybe 5 minutes total, which about triples the amount of time I've spent in VR in my entire life. So,
Yeah, so that kind of sets some context here. I'd say we're both kind of maybe slow to pick up on the whole VR thing. I thought today maybe we could touch on some of the reasons why, and I've also, of course, played the PlayStation VR, so we could go over kind of our impressions, our 5 minutes.
yeah,
Yeah. I had volunteered at PAX Prime this year, or whatever they call it now, PAX West, and there was a developer there. I forget the developer's name, but they made the game Korix, Korix. It's kind of like it's interesting actually. It's like a board game that plays out in real time, kind of. So it is a PlayStation exclusive. It's a PlayStation VR game, and it was a lot of fun. I think. I don't know if VR was critical to the experience, but the game was fun, and I thought it was a pretty decent demonstration of the
Mm.
technology. What game did you play?
There was like a demo one specifically called the London Heist Getaway.
Oh yeah, yeah,
And
right,
it was solid. It felt like it belonged in VR, especially as a quick demo. So the
right.
whole premise of it is you're a passenger in a vehicle, and I guess it's a getaway vehicle. You're driving along, and suddenly people start driving up next to you in vehicles and motorcycles, and they're shooting at you. So the driver hands you a gun, and you've got to take out the people that are coming after you. Um,
Okay,
and so you get a minute or so to warm up to it and kind of get your bearings in VR. Like you're just the passenger, and there's stuff like a soda cup on the dashboard that you can reach over and grab and pick it up, and um, there's like little ammo clips around. And
you
sorry,
yeah, you like light a cigar or something. I think
I didn't find the cigar,
different
but
game.
possibly.
Okay,
But you can open up the glove compartment and get the, ammo clips and stuff, and so eventually, when you get the gun, you um, so it's using the move controllers. I think that's what they're
right.
called.
I think so.
Um, so you're using the move controllers, and it feels kind of natural. You pull the trigger, and it will grab onto something, or there's a button that you can use to empty your gun of its current ammo clip, but then you have to pick up an ammo clip and manually put it into the gun to reload. So
Okay,
it was ever so slightly wonky. Like the first time I pick up the cup is like way inside my virtual hand, and and it doesn't really seem to get any sort of sense of momentum and stuff. Like if you try to throw the cup across the car at the driver or whatever, it doesn't really go where you're trying to throw it. Um,
got it. Yeah.
but it does also start to feel very natural, very fast. Like aiming people is way, like it's like a billion times easier than using a controller to aim in a shooting game, and probably
Sure. Yeah.
easily twice as easy as using a mouse. Um, so it feels incredibly natural at first because you can aim and shoot pretty
Hmm.
much at what you're aiming at, and then grabbing ammo clips and stuff, you're able to reach for that out of your peripheral vision and grab the clips and pick those up. So it feels very natural, very fast.
Okay. Cool. Okay. And the game, I mean, that's just a demo, right? That's not a full. They're not pushing that out to a full game. I think.
Uh, what I played was definitely just a demo. I haven't looked into it enough to see whether the studio is making a full game on that. My concern is just that if you were to make a full game like that, it's a great experience because you don't have to worry about like cameras being set up to track you as you move around a room or anything. You don't have to worry about how much physical space you have.
Sure.
You can just sit in a chair and look around and aim at stuff. So it's great for that. But I also feel like if that were the whole game and you have no ability to walk around a space, it would feel very limiting.
Interesting. Okay. I think it's interesting you mentioned the momentum because that's a problem I had. I mean, maybe it's not even a fair comparison, but like when Wii came out
Yeah,
and everyone was really excited about like Wii Sports and stuff. Um, I don't know. There's just not like there's a huge disconnect there. I found so like playing the bowling game and playing the tennis game. It doesn't really feel like what you're doing with the Wiimote is reflected at all in the game. I thought,
right.
which obviously is a limitation of the technology. So I mean, coming up on VR, that's an area I was really hoping they'd work on a lot. Is just getting that like. I mean, I have to, I guess, interpret what you mean, but like if you throw something, I would hope that the strength of your throw would
Yeah.
be reflected in the game and so on.
Yeah. I actually haven't played very many Wii games. I did play the Michael Jackson dancing game that was on it.
Okay.
Um, this was in 2010, so I'm definitely not familiar with the name. It was over at someone else's place. Um, but
Sure.
I found that kind of weird to play that because like everyone else that was playing it, they're like super trying to get into it and like doing the full dancing moves with the body and stuff. Um, I've never
Sure.
been so much into dancing, so I just took it as a game that's being played and realized that the Wii can only track the controllers, not your whole body.
Yep.
So everyone kind of got annoyed with me because I was getting like the best scores, but I wasn't dancing. I was just moving the controllers to where they're supposed to be.
Right. Yeah, I think Wii's big selling point was ease of access, obviously. So you had to kind of probably, you know, imagine a little bit there,
Yeah.
embellish the experience on your own.
Yeah, but yeah, I don't know why they're not tracking. Maybe it's just a game speed thing of like figuring out where that thing is time versus just taking a single snapshot of it and tracking when you let go of the button and
Yeah, I mean, with the Move controllers and obviously any, the Oculus controllers, whatever those are called, I don't remember, but I mean, I'm sure the capability's there. Maybe it's just, quick tech demo
yeah,
they roiled out and then it's not
yeah.
there kind of thing. But I don't know. I would think that that's even for a tech demo. I would think that's an area you'd focus on.
Yeah, I
So,
feel like especially if it's
um,
if it's a small little thing with almost nothing to do, you want
mm,
to make sure that what you can do is done right.
yeah, yeah. The game I was playing, Corex. I don't know if you've heard of it or know
No.
anything about it. No. Okay. It's there wasn't. I mean, I found it interesting because kind of as a demo of VR, it was probably not effective at all. Really. I mean, it wasn't meant to be this immersive thing where you're stepping into
Mm,
this world and oh, here I am. Whoa, everything's VR. Wow. It was just really it was like playing a board game, but with the headset and everything, it's like you're literally looking at this board game. What was interesting was it was a two-player co-op game, so you could see what the other player was doing, and you could see kind of their presence, I guess. Like obviously you weren't seeing the person, but you were seeing their controller, and then I think there was kind of a shadow of a person there. So it really felt like you were in this world playing this board game,
right.
but you'd like place units. I mean, it was a battle board game. It was like me and my friend versus the computer. We build walls, we build units. We build tanks. They go, they attack, etc. But it was alive. You know what I mean? Like you'd
Right.
place tanks, you'd place people, and then they'd actually walk off and start attacking each other. It was almost like I mean, maybe this is a stretch, but the
Right.
that holographic chess game they play in Star Wars, it was like a board game that was alive. I thought that was a neat use of the technology. So I do like actually that even this kind of demo that might not be what a lot of people are looking for is still showing off, I guess, some of the potential of VR
Yeah.
beyond simply here's another shooter, but now you're in the game, or here's this you're in the movie kind of experience. So I thought it was interesting for that. It didn't blow me away in terms of technical achievement or anything, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so the only other VR experience I had was at GDC in 2013. I got to try Hawken, which were a shooting type game. I don't know if you can consider it first person, your first person inside of a cockpit.
Okay, was that PlayStation VR, Oculus?
No, yeah, that was Oculus.
I might have played the same game actually. Anyway, go on.
Yeah, so I mean, I played that for a few minutes and it was okay. I mean, the game got great reviews, but it's not really my type of games.
Sure.
And then the only other experience that I had with VR was probably in like 1995 or even, yeah, like 1995 or 96. We went to Toronto and in the CN Tower they had some sort of a VR setup that obviously was quite primitive considering the time it was, but
I was so sure you were going to start talking about Virtual Boy.
no, okay, so I forgot about Virtua Boy. I re-
I think we've been there. We've all played with that one.
Yeah, probably Zellers or Kmart back in the day had a display copy, and I tried that, and it felt like it was burning my eyes. So I put that down and never considered buying it ever again. Uh,
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think everyone's experience with Virtual Boy was the same. Like everyone will say exactly the same thing. Hurt my head. Everything's red. What's going on?
yeah,
The game selection sucked. Blah blah blah. It's interesting because my neighbor actually had one
yeah,
growing up, which was like whoa, you know. And what struck me as bizarre was just how awkward it was to even set up. Like I remember I'd go to his house and there's just no place in his house you could even set the thing up. Like they had a kind of an interesting basement. I
right.
don't know. There was like stuff everywhere, and then you had to find. I guess you could just put it on the table, but we always tried to play it in his room, and he didn't really have a place to put it, so you have to kind of hold it.
Yeah,
I don't know. It was like bizarre.
yeah.
The strides they've made, huh?
Oh, portable VR. That's not
Yeah,
portable.
oh yeah. Oh man.
But yeah, it's interesting that you're saying that with the Chorix, was it?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, because I feel like I've heard from other people that like third person over the shoulder or like board game type stuff, like that's kind of where uh, it's surprisingly good to use VR. Like most people think that a third person thing is gonna suck in VR, like that you want to have it be a first person thing, but I don't know. I find maybe th because it's stereotypical, it doesn't really do it as much for me. Whereas I actually, having tried the VR thing the other night, I find myself becoming interested in trying to develop some stuff and maybe moving away from something that's not so stereotypical first person shooter.
Yeah, yeah. Well, something else I can say. I mean, I think I would like to see VR used in such a way where it's. I mean, of course, you know, drive those new
Yeah.
experiences. That's great, but it's interesting for me to see where VR could kind of augment existing experiences. So, I mean, think of other games you've played that are maybe just the video game version of a board game, or maybe a strategy game. You know,
Yeah.
Final Fantasy Tactics or something. And I look at that and I think, how could VR make this better? And I think, what when I'm playing, say, Final Fantasy Tactics, what is it that I'm missing? And part of it is if this was a virtual reality, say like the Star Wars chess set again, or whatever chess, what board game, you know, with the monsters fighting on the Millennium Falcon kind of thing. You can kind of lean in and look around and see the other side of buildings. Kind of a character might look kind of cool, so you look at them and you
Yeah.
look at them from a different. You're looking at their model from a different angle. Like that kind of thing is interesting, I think. And I mean, obviously, with Final Fantasy Tactics, I think you had
Yeah.
I think it was L and R you could press, and it would like swing the whole world around, and that was good, but it's not as free flowing as like a VR experience where you can just kind of lean over and be like, oh, cool. Or like if you're in a hurry, maybe it's a real time game and there's kind of a time battle and you just kind of want to see what's behind that building right there and you just lean over and look. Like, I think to me, I'm not saying that Chorix necessarily
Hit all those.
greatly demoed that, but it showed the potential to do that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I certainly also would like to see more, as you say, non-stereotypical
Yeah,
experiences.
like even with like civilizations, like the being able to just pan around the board and
Yeah.
or pick a piece up and move it or whatever. Like it seems like it would be cool, like zooming out and seeing like the whole map and I don't know, feeling kind of omnipresent or whatever.
Yeah, yeah, and I mean, I like that one thing Corix did do interestingly. You could glance over at what the other player was doing and then glance back. Like, think of you bring up Civilization. I mean, there's the fog of war and stuff, but
Yeah,
putting that aside for a second, just imagine you're playing like a multiplayer Civilization. You could just glance over way across the board and way across the world essentially and see what another player is doing, and you know maybe scramble and change your strategy if they're doing something different or. I mean, I guess Civ is
that,
turn-based, but Warcraft or something,
yeah,
that's
it
an
was.
interesting, yeah.
I was just gonna say that would definitely be a game changer for something like StarCraft too.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Um, well, I mean, I guess neither of us have a wealth of experience playing VR. Is there something about VR that doesn't appeal to you or does appeal to you?
Uh,
I mean, we both play a lot of games, and yet we both haven't really hopped on VR. I think that's
well, I mean, there's.
something to look at.
I'm generally not an early adopter on stuff.
Right.
So, I mean, I still don't have the PS4 or the Xbox One, or a Dreamcast or.
You think that's a money thing? You think that's a
Uh,
backlog thing? I
it's
mean,
it's a combination of a money thing, being frugal, I guess, with both time and money. Um, I like to. know that I'm getting the most out of what I'm paying into something, and if something is early, there's no telling what's going to happen. Like stuff like the Dreamcast, which looked like it was going to be this amazing thing, and from what I hear, it did have some good games, but the system failed very fast, and um, when you're throwing around hundreds of dollars, it to me isn't exciting running that risk that you're going to invest that money and then not get a good return on it.
Sure. So money thing.
Um,
Money's there.
and then just the state of learning that the developers have when they're targeting a new platform or whatever. To me, the first generation of games is never as appealing as the stuff that starts to come later.
Yeah.
When the developers have kind of learned all the tricks and how to exploit stuff to get the most out of it.
Sure. Yeah. No, I hear you.
So
Yeah.
so yeah, I mean, it's kind of that with me. Like, how can I feel excited about the Oculus when there's also the PlayStation VR and when there's also like the Vive and when there's also other solutions that are out and you don't necessarily know which one is going to win the best titles and stuff. Like I couldn't get into Blu-ray for the same reason until after the HD DVD disappeared.
Yeah. Yeah. I think for myself, I mean, everything you've said also applies to me to some extent. I might be a little more willing to shell out money. I wouldn't call myself an early adopter, but I guess take a risk on newer platforms to some extent. Although I wonder because I think for me, I mean, I approach games in two ways, right? I have obviously an engineering
Yeah.
background, so there's just that general interest in technology. But I find the games I really, really enjoy, they don't tend to be boundary pushers in the technology side. They just tend to be maybe um, artistically unique or just these really creative mechanics or genre defining games. So for me,
Someone's Facebook.
VR, yeah, that was me. Sorry. Thanks, Dad. How was your weather today? Um, I mean, maybe there are great VR games that I just haven't got my hands on, but every indication I've seen is that, it's this new technology. It's so amazing. Here it is, but it's not like the games are blowing people away. It's just the experience itself, right?
Yeah.
So, like I said, from a technological point of view, like maybe I'd love to work in that
Yeah.
sphere, or I like to read kind of about the technology, but the gamer in me is not seeking that
Yeah.
necessarily. The gamer in me wants to play these crafted experiences that are perhaps not so technology pushing,
Yeah.
um, b- because those tend to be gimmicky, right?
Yeah.
It's almost like film. I mean, think of like kind of gimmicks that come out in film, like the 3D thing or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, if you're a fan of film, I don't think you immediately gravitate there, right? You're still going to watch. It depends what kind of stuff you like, but maybe more kind of critically acclaimed, whatever stuff. So
Yeah.
yeah, I kind of sit on the fence there.
Yeah, for me, like I've worked in film, and I've worked on stereo projects, and for me, the greatest thing about stereo becoming kind of like the gimmicky thing that everyone's pushing for, is that it leaves the 2D cinemas nice and empty, so that I'd never have to wait in line. I can just go and pay a nice affordable price and see the
And they're
film.
cheaper, yeah.
Uh,
Are they cheaper or is the 3D just more
the
expensive?
3D is more
I never.
expensive.
All right, well,
It's weird because the 3D was more expensive because the theaters told us that it was going to cost a bunch of money to upgrade all the cinemas to have the new technology and whatnot. Um, but that was quite a while ago, and I haven't seen the prices drop now that all that stuff has been installed.
yeah, it's a gimmick. Well, they know people will pay. I mean, why drop it, right? It's like income tax.
Yeah,
Once people get used to it, well, where's the incentive to cut
yeah.
it, right?
Uh,
Yep.
so yeah, it's interesting that you say that from a technological point of view you're interested in because I'm kind of the same way. Like I said, I went to see this thing on Wednesday, and I find myself not necessarily wanting to pick it up to play, but maybe interested in experimenting a little bit with Unreal Engine or whatever to actually try developing some stuff. And
Yeah.
I don't know if maybe that's just because I'm at a point in my adult life where I'm not as easily hyped, and or maybe I'm just hyped about the ability to create stuff as opposed to play other people's stuff. But
Yeah, I mean, again, same with me. And I think, like you say, as an adult, we just have less patience, less time. Like it was so
yeah,
easy to be hyped when you were 17 because you could go home and find some information about something that's coming out and just pour over it and focus on this and go crazy for it. Now it's like you don't
yeah.
even have the time to do that.
Yeah. No,
So
when I was a kid, I would pick up all the Nintendo Powers and all the Game Players and Game Pros, and I remember letting myself get super hyped for Final Fantasy VIII. And
ooh.
I,
See, that's why you don't get super hyped anymore, I think.
yeah, I like, all these magazines were going on about how this game was going to be so amazing, and I picked up, I think it was Brave Fencer Musashi came with a demo disc
Yeah,
for it.
yeah.
And the demo got me hooked too. And then the game came out, and it was not my favorite game of all time,
Oh
to
man.
to put it politely.
Yeah, you know how I feel about that mess. Yeah, I'm the same. My enthusiasm survived the demo. Looking back, I mean, there was warning flags, red flags all over the place in that demo,
Yeah,
but somehow just the hype was there. Um, yeah, I don't know. I don't. I'm not saying that can't happen to me anymore, but certainly it's a different world when you're an adult. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Once you've been let down by that
You've
super
had much
hype.
more experience in the past of letdowns, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. I think everyone that was the game that everyone rented just to get the demo. Everyone would go and rent Brave Fencer Musashi, which is a great game,
oh, I love it.
fun little game, yeah. And then they'd put that disc aside and just play the Final Fantasy VIII demo. Or maybe it
Yeah.
was the same disc, I don't remember, but
No, it was totally a different disc.
yeah.
And I ended up, yeah, I totally bought Brave Fencer. It's a really great game. That's actually on my to-do list to once and for all finish at some point in the next 2 years.
Nice, 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 nice. So, back to the VR thing. I was
Yeah,
wondering what you, I guess, just thought of the physical hardware. I noticed I was looking at a lot of reviews for, Vive, PlayStation VR, whatever else, and a lot of people like to say, "Oh, well, this system is more beautiful than this." No, this and PlayStation VR. I know it's the lower end of all of them, but like technology-wise, but gets good reviews for being a pretty little
yeah,
device. I've also read a lot about. I guess it's kind of a headache to set up, lots of wires and stuff. It's weird to be talking about this where I don't have the system in front of me
yeah.
and I haven't played it in the last month or so. But did you get a feel from your experience last week?
Um,
Comfortable, looks good, something you'd be embarrassed to have in your living room. Lots of
well, I
wires.
mean, it's hard to compare because I haven't played the Vive at all, and I tried the Oculus so long ago that it's like very hazy in my memory of what that setup was like. Um, when it comes to the actual form factor of the PlayStation VR, like it felt comfortable. It's one of the first times I can think of that I've put on some sort of a thing like that. Like yeah, I've played paintball and I've gone to see 3D movies and stuff. And as someone who's got the vision of a naked mole rat, um, I basically have to wear my glasses to do anything. And so I put this on and it fits very comfortably over my glasses. There was no interfering with it pushing into them whatsoever. Um, so it felt comfortable. It adjusted onto my head easily. It looked nice. Um, I honestly can't remember what it was like as far as having any sort of cables going across the room. I seem to recall that was a cable, but I'm not 100% sure if maybe that was just because of the headphones. Um,
Right.
which,
It's probably hard for you to judge too. I mean, there's people
yeah,
everywhere. Like, I doubt it was quiet enough for you to gauge, or I doubt it was. I mean, there's probably a lot of other things you're
it was
seeing
it
that
was
are
it was a
distracting
it
you
was
from
a
a messy
retail
setup.
setup that was like in the middle of the floor. So what I can say is that it was using the camera that was positioned like next to the TV on top of the console. So um, I'm not too concerned with it taking up lots of space in your living room, which, from what I understand, with
Hmm.
some of the other things, like you have to put sensors around the room. There
Yeah.
was an article on Kotaku a while ago from Stephen Totilo, I believe, where it's a huge hassle having this set up in his New York apartment, which is nice and tiny, because you've got to start moving furniture
Mm,
around and stuff. And so, at least for this game, where you just sit down in a chair and are able to play this stuff, and you don't have to worry about the zone that it's capturing or anything, it seemed convenient for that sort of game.
right.
And when it comes to the display quality, um, you notice right away that it's not nearly as sharp as looking at a TV.
Yeah. A lot of people comment on the resolution.
Yeah, it's very noticeable at first when you put it on, and especially, you're getting used to this new system and trying to be aware of what it's like.
Right.
But
Well, it's 480p, isn't it?
I couldn't even tell you the specs.
Yeah.
But
Noticeably.
it's
Yeah.
noticeably lower, but as soon as you actually start playing the game, you kind of lose any sort of sense of that. So I'm not overly concerned. Like, obviously, it'll be nicer as the technology improves in the next decade, uh,
Well,
but I don't think that's a limiting factor right now.
right. I wonder though, I mean, the game experience you were given as a demo was probably fast paced. You were very
Yeah.
into it. What if it was a slower paced kind of thinking game? And you might look and everything. If everything looks bad, it'll be very noticeable at that point. If you're like, the game requires you to focus on stationary objects and so on.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not overly concerned with it, and maybe that's just because I'm spending most of my time playing retro games anyway. Uh, if I'm playing stuff on my 3DS or using my PlayStation 2 or whatever, it I'm not bothered by that.
Right.
So I think it's a perfectly acceptable experience right now. I'm eager to see what sort of games start coming out, because we're at a point now where you can get the PlayStation 4 or you can get the PlayStation 4 Slim, and that's obviously what I tested it on is the currently available technology.
Right.
But supposedly the PS4 Pro is coming out soon, which supposedly can offer a better VR experience
Hmm.
as far as like stuff being at a better frame rate and whatnot. So
Okay.
um, I'm curious to get my hands on it again before the end of the year, and hopefully with that system, and see what the difference is, or see what the library is building up, and see if it is actually worth investing. I don't know right now, even though that's like the cheapest option. I'm not excited to spend around $800 Canadian or so to pick up a PlayStation and a VR.
Yeah. I hear you, man.
Not with the limited time I have available.
Indeed. Yeah, yeah. Well, we've got many other things to be doing. Both of us have our big backlogs and so forth.
Yeah.
I was wondering actually about the longer play times. Like, I mean, we just mentioned Virtual Boy and how it gave you headaches. You played this for 5 minutes.
Yeah, it was
Who
five
knows how you'd
minutes.
feel after an hour or 2 hours, right?
Yeah.
The good thing about my experience, I mean, I kind of got a lot of time with the Corex demo. I played a full game of it, so it was probably about a half an hour,
Yeah.
which I thought was a pretty good sampling for like a playtime test. And I will say, it didn't give me headaches or anything, but I was pretty happy to pull the headset off after the half hour. Like, I think if I was playing a multi-stage game and each stage was half an hour, I'd definitely be taking breaks between the stages. And I don't think, like, I didn't have a headache, but I don't know. It's just it's not comfortable enough, I
I
think.
seem to recall you. I remember you saying back in a few years ago that you had given the Oculus a shot at PAX or something, and that it had made you dizzy.
It's funny you remember.
Or
I
am I
don't
thinking of something else?
actually. I
Okay.
did try the Oculus demo. I thought that was last PAX actually, um, and it was an impressive demo, but it was definitely. It made me. I do remember actually kind of being motion sick. I guess that's dizzy, but
Yeah.
not dizzy so much as like almost like wanting to vomit.
Right.
Now I get motion sick very easily, so I don't know if that's reflective of a typical person's experience with it. But that particular that demo was very immersive, and there's a lot of running around and jumping on cliffs, and like you're on the side of a cliff and then you look straight down and then you look back up, like a lot of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, it was I could see it depending on the game. Say that.
Yeah. Yeah, so I don't know. Like I remember you commenting on that like pretty early on. I hadn't experienced that at all. I haven't had any problems like that with the any sort of motion sickness and stuff. So like I said, it felt pretty natural to me. I don't know if maybe that's just who I am or because I spent less time on it than you or something. So it would definitely be good to spend more than just 5 minutes on these VR sets before committing my time.
Indeed. Actually, a lot of people get car sick even just playing like shooters,
Yeah.
right? Which I don't at all. So I don't know if it was actually that the experience, I don't know, was so unnatural that it made me motion sick or whatever, or if it was genuinely like that effective. You know what I mean? Like, I mean,
Yeah.
in the demo, I was actually standing on a cliffside looking over this cliff, and it was this huge descent. And I mean, in real life, that would have probably made me freak
Yeah.
out. And I think I did kind of start to sweat a bit. So,
Yeah, whereas
um,
I've done outdoor rock
yeah,
climbing and stuff, so that
yeah, no
yeah, put me
problem,
in a
right?
virtual version of that, and I'm not going to be as stressed out.
Yeah, yeah. Um, yeah, well, uh, one of the uh, things to look into, I guess, or keep an eye out as we
Yeah,
play more VR. Yeah,
yeah, I'm
cool.
definitely interested in
Cool.
seeing more of it, but I don't think I'm going to be necessarily buying it this year.
Got it. Yeah, same here.
All right, well,
Cool.
I think we need to work on a firmer way of us closing episodes when we're finished.
Okay. This is based on the first episode where we said, "Are we done?" Sure. Okay. See ya.
Well, based on the first episode where we kind of just trailed off, and then I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna stop recording now."
Wait, so we're not aiming to be as amateurish as possible? I don't remember. We don't have any stated goals, which is in itself pretty amateurish, maybe. I don't know.
Right. Yeah. So I guess we could always just fade off right around here too.
Okay, I'll press stop right now. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Okay. Um, what did you have in mind? Some sort of wrap up, some jingle, fade into a fake ad.
Well, honestly, I'd say for this episode, I don't know. I guess we could always just tack on something at the end that says like, "All right, see you guys next time" or something. But we could just say something like, "All right, good talking about the PlayStation VR. Hopefully, or yeah. All right, well, good talking about the VR. I'm excited to see how that's going to go in the near future, and I guess I'll talk to you next week.
Cool. All right. Do you want to, or were you saying that right now? Like I'm supposed to respond to it?
uh,
All right, try again. Try again, and I'll
just leave
let's just
that.
record.
Yeah,
Let's just
leave
put
that as
all of
the
this in
ending.
the
That you're like,
podcast.
oh, are you saying that?
Awesome.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'd say that basically sums up everything we know about the VR stuff right now. So I'm definitely looking forward to seeing how it progresses in the near future, and yeah, keep me updated if you happen to see anything. And I guess otherwise, I'll talk to you next week.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. I mean, once we get a little more than a 5 minutes of playtime in, we'll have some. We'll have to do a follow-up episode. Yeah, cool. All right. See you next week, brother.
Cheers.
Cheers, mania.